committed to that running game. You've committed to a whole new way of structuring your offense, as Denver found out last year. So it's a huge move, but it probably will get made.
As a matter of interest, the machinations within the footy club itself, is it Rex Ryan's call? Is it the offensive coordinator's call? Who is? I mean, obviously Rex Ryan has the final say.
Ryan and the general manager, whoever that is. Sometimes the coaches have that role. The general manager is a very strong figure as well too. Those two work together. Rarely would an owner come in, although a Jerry Jones in Dallas, Pat Bowlen in Denver, possibly.
Jerry Jones may be getting involved soon.
He will be. Or Dan Snyder, the other guy in D.C., the young whippersnapper who has spent so much money there. They might have something to say, but normally it would be the coach or the general manager.
So explain to me then, what's the thought process? I mean, they've brought Tebow in as a backup to Sanchez,
and as a change of pace guy. Yep.
So they've almost brought him in as a second stringer. It's not
yeah.
So they haven't brought him in as a full backup. They're sort of saying, listen, we can be versatile with someone like Tebow.
That was the thought process. Yep. Yes.
So it's like a pinch hitter. Let's just bring him in every now and then, change it up a little bit.
Right. Exactly.
Geez, they're paying big dollar to do that, I would imagine.
They are, and it was a lot of people criticized the move. So it'll be interesting to see here whether or not Sanchez can get the thing done. But again, great drama.
Does Tebow did he have any say in that trade? In that he knows he's going to a club and he's going to be the relief quarterback. So he knows he's not going to fulfill the role he's fulfilled most of the year before.
They normally have no say at all. It's not like the AFL where a player can hold up a trade. It's essentially, unless you're a veteran, you've got a no-trade thing in there, something like that. Denver wanted to get rid of him. It was John Elway's call. John Elway never liked Tim Tebow. In fact, there were times last year when people thought Elway, who's the president and runs the Broncos, was just cringing every time Tebow led one of these miracle comebacks. So he wanted him out, and I think now we see why. He wanted to get paid.
But he had Manning. If he hadn't have had Manning, on the shelf,
would have been a bit of trouble if they hadn't had Manning. I'm not sure who they would have gone with. They would have found somebody, I think. But Elway never wanted Tebow around, which is pretty bizarre, actually.
You are listening to Bet Stars and Stripes. Just a reminder that every week, a very popular initiative sees us give away an NFL season game pass, and we're going to give another one of those away after the break. Two callers we need on the line again for the Who Am I quiz. Hopefully they can fare a little better than our contestants last week who eventually got there. But the first...
Rob Gronowski.
Yeah. Yes, or Gronko or something.
And given that you've got 7 or 8 games or whatever it is at 4 a.m., it's a belt of the game pass. And to be able to watch the condensed version in half an hour, Al, it's just magnificent.
I was hunting at the back of my TV yesterday to work out where I plug my computer into the TV.
But sorry.
And so over the next couple of days, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be plugging the computer in and watching it on the TV in half an hour.
Very important to switch the scores off. Because there is a button on the
like
game
a ticker
pass,
or whatever.
A tick, that you can actually switch the scores. Otherwise, when you turn it on, you get all the games that have been played. The scores are sitting there.
Good advice.
And as much as you try and not look at them, it's like a rubberneck. Yeah, you just have to look.
Agreed. That's great advice for beginners.
So our first two callers through can compete. Got the NFL Game Pass up for grabs. Also the education. It'll fill you in on some of the intricate details or terminology or technicalities of the sport. Also got plenty of SMSs coming through with questions on specific teams and the like. But we'll take a break. Of course, all this brought to Betstar, and they brought back the old favourite double fixed odds from 8 a.m. race day on all Group 1 Spring Carnival.
This is Bet Stars and Stripes with Dr. Turf, Ed Wyatt and Alice Gander.
Welcome back to Bet Stars and Stripes every Sunday night between 8 and 9 o'clock. All brought to you by Betstar, fast and friendly service online or over the phone. Visit betstar.com.au or betstar.mobi. Take them on anywhere, anytime. It's time now to give away another NFL Game Pass. We've got our two contestants on the line ringing through straight away. First up, we've got Derek in Warrenwood. Derek, good evening.
Evening, boys.
And we'll go with the buzzer test straight off, which is your own name.
Derek.
Very good.
Nice.
Past the first part of it. Now, Tim in Carrum. Tim, good evening.
Good evening. How are we all?
Good, mate. And a buzzer test from you as well?
Tim.
Beautiful.
Correct.
Fantastic. Derek and Tim, here we go. You both know the rules. I'll give away clues, and then the first person to come in with their buzzer, being their name, will get an opportunity. If you get it wrong, then your counterpart will get 2 free clues and an opportunity to buzz at their own accord. So, first clue is I was born in Texas in 1985. I was the first freshman runner-up in the Heisman Trophy. I was selected at pick 7.
That's Derek.
Oh, no, I don't have it.
No, so you got to give him. You got to give Tim 2 free clues here. So I'll finish this one off. I was selected at pick 7 in 2007 NFL Draft. I was named the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2007.
Derek.
No, you got to give
Derek's
Tim
still
one.
suspended.
Yeah, you're still suspended. You got to give Tim one more. This is the one more clue.
Nice try, though, Derek.
I am the highest paid running back in NFL history.
Derek.
Tim, do you want to go have a crack at you? This is still your free clue, but otherwise I'm going to have to open it up to Derek.
Michael Smith.
No, that's Derek. You can have a crack.
Adrian Peterson.
Good get, Derek. Well played, buddy.
Very well done.
He fought his way
Nice
back
job.
from suspension.
Derek.
Derek. Yes, Derek. Yes.
Derek, if you hang on the line, mate,
Numerous
Tim will grab
appeals, yeah.
Tim will grab all your details, and someone from the Betstar offices will ring you tomorrow and work it all out for you.
Plenty of SMS questions coming through, which we'll get to in a moment, but our next segment is one we run every week called Education or Understanding the Game, where Ed Wyatt will bring you some terminology or explain some of the ins and outs of the game. Obviously, if you've got new followers or perhaps you've seen something that you haven't quite got a grasp of.
That's correct. We get at Wyatt HQ, we get stacks of questions for me. People want to know. Intentional grounding. You know what that is, don't you, Darren? When the quarterback throws it away, when he's trying to avoid a sack. They've changed these rules a little bit, and when we talk about Drew Brees, which I'm sure we'll get to, rules have changed in the past. In the old days, if you didn't throw essentially it's when you're facing imminent loss of yardage. This is straight from the rule book, and you throw a ball without a realistic chance of a completion. In the old days, that was a penalty. Now what they've said is if you're outside the pocket, so if you're running outside where the tackles would be lined up, you are allowed to intentionally ground it as long as you throw it in the direction past the line of scrimmage towards a receiver. So that's a rule that's been changed. You've also seen as time goes, when the quarterback spikes the ball to try and stop the clock, just throws it into the ground, theoretically that would be intentional grounding because you're not doing it. That also has been allowed in the last few years to enable to keep the game going.
I would say the throwing it past the line of scrimmage was the only point that they adhere to. They are very free and easy with the direction.
It's an absolute, I don't want to say disgrace, that's not right, but it's really there to help the quarterback and help the offense.
Yeah.
Drew Brees, as we know, we haven't talked about it, but he broke the touchdowns, consecutive touchdown records in a game that has stood since 1960. Johnny Unitas, who played for the Baltimore Colts, one of my dad's huge heroes. My dad grew up in Baltimore, loved the Colts, had season tickets. I was privy to seeing a couple games when I was a youngster. In his day, defenders could, could hold. There were all sorts of things that worked against the quarterback. These days, and not to take anything away from Drew Brees, because sensational quarterback, but you can barely touch a receiver. Yeah. You can throw the ball away. There are all kinds of rules that are there to help the modern-day quarterback. It's apples and oranges, really, comparing a guy like John Unitas to a guy like Drew Brees.
Not trying to name drop here, but when we did go over to the Super Bowl, I went to a dinner because Glenn Archer and Lee Colbert got a Ultimate Sports Tour.
That's right. Yeah.
We were lucky we were there at the same time. They invited us to their dinner where Joe Montana was the guest and spoke and everything. And he was so dismissive of the protection that quarterbacks got. And he actually got Hutchie up, who's a big fella, as we all know, and showed him what real coverage was in those days. And basically, they could do anything bar bite your ear off.
Yeah.
But these days, and he was very, very critical of the leniency given, well, not the leniency, but the protection given to quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
In the modern game.
I'll give you another one to watch, too. When you're watching a game, you're meant to have 7 men on the line of scrimmage. So the 5 linemen, the center, the 2 guards, and the 2 tackles on offense, need to be in a line on the line. If you look at a passing situation, the Giants are notorious for this. Those tackles are in the backfield. They back up because they know it's going to be a pass. It gives them an advantage to get back. That really should be flagged. It isn't flagged. So these modern rules make the game more exciting, but they're absolutely make it easier for the offense.
So in one word, is the game better or worse for it?
I think it's better. It's a more attractive game. It's a much more attractive game. People like to see more offense. The old games were real grinded out, but the old-timers don't like it as much.
And I think lots of sports have gone down that way.
I think you're right.
We don't want to talk AFL, but AFL's gone down that way. They try and clean up the game. They try and they protect the forwards.
Faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree, Al.
There were the same
Definitely.
sort of rules were introduced to the NRL this year to sort of move it on and, gee whiz, I mean, it's supposed to be downward pressure, when scoring a try, and
yeah.
boy, have they been lenient.
More
with that
lenient
one
on
this
that.
year.
Yeah, I agree. Lenient to play the ball as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
playing the ball,
Yeah.
fair nickum. I mean,
Agreed.
the old timers aren't happy, but the crowds
They're
are
left
up
in the dust. Exactly. Ratings are up, crowds are up, money's there. Yeah, exactly.
Studs and Duds will be in our next segment, but a couple of SMSs coming through. Greg from West Meadows, you did throw the challenge out. He puts forward the Boston Red Sox and the Patriots in 2004.
There we go. There we
The
go.
last time
And I
that
want to
happened.
say maybe Mets and Jets back in '69. The Jets won the Super Bowl, third Super Bowl, and the Mets, I think that was the amazing Mets that won the World Series. So that one as
How
well.
would morale be in that town for that year? It'd be extraordinary.
It'd be
wouldn't
great, wouldn't it?
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
imagine the party.
Boston. How about Boston had that charm time with the Patriots? The Celtics were good. The Bruins had some good seasons. The ice hockey, they were flying.
And Cheers was set
Flying.
there.
Cheers, absolutely right. It was all happening.
Brendan says, what is the problem with the Packers? The Maestro asks a similar question, which we'll get to in a minute.
Packers,
Yeah.
it's got to be the defense. I mean, Aaron Rodgers came out this week and said he's not playing very well. They don't have a great
He's
running
not
game.
getting much protection,
He is
Aaron
not getting
Rodgers.
much protection, and the defense is really not helping him out. So it's kind of a general problem. They've got to get themselves going again.
And also the Maestro, in regards to the Cowboys, says that what is wrong with the Cowboys' running game this season?
That's a hard one. I mean, again, Tony Romo's been bad. They've been throwing it a lot more. You got to have a good passing game to have a good running game. I think there's some issues there. I haven't watched the Cowboys enough, to be honest, to make an informed comment on that one. As I said, they're a schizophrenic team. They're back and forth. They're up and down. They're just a very erratic team to follow. I sympathize with Cowboy fans.
And a couple more SMSs before our next break. Someone asked the question as to the impact. Of course, today the Yankees losing their captain for the rest of the season, the
Derek
impact that'll
Jeter.
have on them.
I read a stat. Derek Jeter, who went out with a fractured ankle, the Yankees have not played a postseason game without him since '95. Now, I've not verified that. Someone threw that across on Twitter, and we know everything on Twitter certainly isn't true, but it's an amazing statistic if that's true. He's been a real linchpin. Derek Jeter, interesting fact on him, he was being recruited heavily by colleges to play football as well from high school. Very, very good athlete.
And Mick from Coburg says, big fan of the Lakers. Lakers have lost 3 pre-season matches against B-grade opposition, even without Dwight Howard. Should I be worried at this stage?
Well, I believe you're a Laker fan, Al, are you not? You're
Yeah,
a bit of
I
a
am a
Lakers
Laker
fan.
fan. I mean,
Are
I
you
was-
worried at the moment?
No, I'm not. I think that pre-seasons, every team tries to get something different out of a pre-season. Now,
Yep.
clearly they're trying to gel because they've got a very new team put together, but I wouldn't be concerned in the slightest.
No, I agree. And the Lakers are notorious for peaking towards the end of the season. I remember years when they literally almost didn't care about the regular season, just get in that playoff position and we'll be ready to go. So, no, don't worry at all. The Lakers are going to be fine.
We'll take a quick break on Betstars and Stripes. Plenty more to come. Join Betstar for great odds and awesome products. Betstar.com.au or Betstar.mobi. Plenty more to come. Welcome back to Bet Stars and Stripes. Keep the SMSs coming through 043398 1116 or call us 9429 1116. Some interesting lamenting going on in the breaks.
He's a bookmaker. He's a book, and like we're mates and all of that. And I bet with Betstar, but you know what? They're the mortal enemy. I
He never lets me forget that.
I still think that they eat their young. And what we were talking about was Piero. Everything that conspired against Piero to get beaten happened yesterday. Missed the start, soiled up, kept wide by the other jockeys, took a long time to get into his action, possibly went for home too early, Nashawilla. And at the end of my little speech, and I had no insight, I'd never had a bet in the race, Al says, great country Australia.
Just not to sidetrack too much, I'd hazard a guess that everyone in the building has a superior knowledge of racing, but I would have thought, based on that run, if Piero is fit, there's no reason to suggest that he couldn't win the Cox Plate. No reason.
No, look, he's a very, very good colt. It's a tough race for 3-year-olds, but he's a very good colt, and I don't think the 2000's a big problem. 49.5 kilos, 3-year-olds get.